Who can tell me if there is any marja al-kiram, may Allah preserve them and bless them for the phenomenal work that they do in leading us. However, this is a constructive criticism, and we need to think for ourselves and respond in kind. Is there a marja that has put out a fiqh work responding to the specific questions on how we live our life and interact when it comes to the issue of issue of environment? Everyone here, you muqallideen of different maraji, you spend your time listening to majalis, you read books, you're on the internet. Every time that there is a masala, this person is arguing this way, this person puts out this thread, all the nonsense. Is there one book, mas'ala, fiqhi masail, telling you about the issues of pollution, the issue of meat, the issue of consumption? Is there one book of masail? There isn't. And this is a shame. This means that we are very behind. Now here we need to think deeply about this issue. When we said that Richard Foltz states that Islam has the best to offer when it comes to preserving the planet, what we mean by that is that Islam has the best ethic to revitalize the ecology and environment of the planet. And that when we begin to think and research and live this, it provides us with an impetus by which we can uncover the true Islamic tradition when it comes to preserving the planet. It also helps us to be able to reform the distorted worldviews that we have inherited. Because we live within a capitalistic society, we inherit the modus operandi of a capitalistic society. We fall in line with its norms, the way in which we purchase, the way in which we waste. Whereas the moment the issue of Islamic environmental ethics is raised and we begin to think about our own practices, we begin to push back at the capitalistic way of living, and we start to be able to think about the distortions that have come to us and actually reform our behaviors back in line with Islamic behavior itself. Now, we stated earlier that according to Lynn White, there have been 3 stages of when faiths have come together to be able to move forward in the sphere of Islamic or sphere of eco-theology. Many of the Shi'i scholars have been producing great work. We're going to mention those now in a second for you. Arguably, however, our Sunni brothers are far ahead when it comes to producing work of theology and ahkam and even research centers than the Shia community. And it should not be like this. In the 1970s, Sayyid Hussein Nasr wrote an abundant work on the issue of environmentalism. One of the first Shi'i scholars to do this. In fact, he writes something very important. He says the way in which we treat the planet is a direct reflection of how we treat our souls and our own bodies. When we are willing to put our own bodies to waste, the thing that is most precious to you and I, do you not imagine for a second that we will be willing to trample upon anything else within creation? The more respect that you have for your own body, for your own mind, will be a direct relationship to the amount of respect you have for the world that surrounds you. He argues in his environmental works. He was one of the first Shi'i scholars to write on it. After that, Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Hussein al-Shirazi, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, he produced a leading work called Fiqh al-Bi'ah. Bi'ah means environment. And we'll talk about this word as we go through the series, inshallah, its root and its application. Fiqh al-Bi'ah is the fiqh of bi'ah, of environment. Now, he didn't write a fiqh, يعني masail, ahkam. When he wrote fiqh, he meant tafaqahu fi din, the way in which we can understand matters of the environment. Arguably, according to my research, he was the first marja to write an entire dedicated book on the issue of the environment. I mentioned in a previous lecture, we talked about Ayatollah Jawadi Amuli. A book is available even in English on Islamic environmentalism. You can buy this and read this for yourself. We also have, for example, Ayatollah Muhaqqiq Damad. He has written a number of papers on the issue of Islamic environmental protections and available mainly in Farsi. After that, arguably the best work in the Shi'i community is by someone by the name of Ayatollah Sheikh Hussein Khashan, who is the head of the Hawza in Lebanon, or representative of Ayatollah Sayyid Muhammad Hussein Fadlullah, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, has also put out a phenomenal work and is arguably the most progressive Shi'i work that is available. The title of the work is Steps Toward a Fiqh of Bi'ah. Can you see? Look at the title. Khutawat. Steps towards it. Meaning what? Even in the title, we still don't have a fiqh of bi'ah. Otherwise, he wouldn't be saying steps towards it. He'll be titling it a bab on fiqh of bi'ah. We do not yet have an usul al-fiqh. We do not yet have an ijtihad as a bab. And we do not yet have a dedicated bab producing masail for fiqh al-bi'ah.